Right. As I promised you, I was going to do a lecture on the units that we would have been covering this week in orientation. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now and look at those assignments in the block down here in block 7. We finished up all of our little PowerPoints, and you should be just about done with the assignments and quizzes there. So we will kind of move on from there to block 7. Now, here is a little PowerPoint presentation that I want to show you. Be in here now. You can look at it. It says voice, what little voice? How long is 10 seconds? Wow, this is really dumb. It can be very good. It can be very bad. So big deal. What kind of PowerPoint is this? You want to think. Do not think of that pink elephant. Okay, all of these little PowerPoints are there just to kind of get you to get your brain going, to kind of focus. I know they seem pretty stupid whenever you look at them, but if you kind of use your mind's eye, your imagination, use those brain cells, you can come up with some ideas about what they're talking about right here. And so don't be afraid to use your brains whenever you're studying. Let's take a look at the lecture notes here. Be here now. It's a very simple idea that you can be anywhere, any place, anytime inside your head. And just be focused on where you are when you're there. And then they kind of go through the little example of the experiment right there. Kind of read that and go through that. And that little voice inside your head can be a good thing when you're working on a paper or a problem. Kind of think through your answers and your ideas, or listening to a lecture. That little voice can kind of tell you, oh, you need to be focused on this. This might be on a test, or else this is important. Or if you jump out of an airplane, you have to jump out. Hey, don't forget the parachute. Now, it can also be kind of difficult too, because it's also very easy for you and I to kind of drift off into some other place rather than what we're working on, and to kind of daydream and just kind of think about what we've got to do, where we've been, what we did yesterday, and so we've got to be able to focus, and you've got to be able to choose to say, I want to deal with what's important to me right now. So, last point, do what you're doing when you're doing it. Stay completely wrapped up and focused on what it is you've got to do at the moment, and give it your all. Now, let's take a look at the when to study little PowerPoint here. When we study, take a look at some things. Study your difficult subjects first. Normally we want to kind of avoid them sometime, but yet we want to use our prime time, uh, brain power, brain time, whenever we're awake, fresh, focused, to be able to study those difficult subjects that we're having problems with. Don't avoid them. Use the best time of the day for you. Are you a morning person or a night person? Wherever you are at your best, that's when you need to study. Then if you got a few minutes, maybe like an hour between classes, don't waste it. Study. And it doesn't have to be that long. 5 minutes will make a difference for you. Use that waiting time. And we've mentioned this before, but it bears mentioning again. Use a regular study area. Train your body and your mind to know this area so you'll feel comfortable with it. And it'll kind of help get you in the routine of getting prepared to study. Study where you'll be alert. What signal does your body get at night when you crawl into bed? Many sleep doctors will tell us that we need to have an established routine to be able to fall asleep. And if we want to get that signal going through our brains or our bodies that, okay, I follow this routine, it's time to go to bed. Well, if I follow this routine, it's time to study. Go out there, get your water, take a bathroom break, find your study place, and so your brain gets kind of out of whatever mode that it was in and now gets into study mode. Pay attention to your attention. We need to focus our attention on what it is we've got to do. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of people can stay focused for hours and hours. Our brains don't work like that. The average adult can usually go 20, maybe 30 minutes and focus on what it is that they're doing, but yet anytime any kind of distractions, your phone rings, people are talking, doing all kinds of other things, our brains lose that focus. And so if you got something that's distracting you, take care of it, then come back and do what you got to do, studying. Agree with living mates about studying time. Get with those people and say, I need this amount of time to study so I can prepare my lessons, so I can prepare for tests and things like that. It's tough whenever you have small children with all the things that they have going on, but yet try to minimize and get an established study time so that the rest of the family can kind of get used to it and accommodate you. Also, get off the phone. The phone keeps ringing. Just put your buzzer on silent, or else don't worry about calling back. Just stay off the phone. And if you are called, say, sorry, I can't talk right now, I'll get back with you, I'm studying. People who want to see you succeed will understand. Those that don't, well, they'll just have to get over it. Learn to say no. Others who want you to succeed will understand. We got all kinds of people and all kind of places that are making demands on our time and on us. Don't be afraid to say, no, I'm sorry, I cannot do it. I've got some studying I have to do tonight. find someone else. And then what's nice, if you can do it, is to study the night before. Kind of review, get everything done, uh, get prepared the night before, get a good night's sleep, and you'll be ready to do some good the next day at school. So that takes care of that little PowerPoint right there. Now, there's a when to study file I want you to take a look at. And this, you can print this out at home, and it's got spaces where you can go kind of take some notes, write some same things down if you want to. It's pretty much the PowerPoint with some way for you to put some notes there down on the side. For note taking, let's take a look at that. When you take notes, you've got to bring the right materials. You need pens, pencils, and paper. Can't do a whole lot without them. Sit front and center. Instructor doesn't bite, and you won't fall asleep. So don't be afraid to sit up front in class. Too many times, too many people want to stay in the back so the teacher won't call on them or whatever. You never know what's going to distract you in the back, so stay up front so you don't see all those things. And plus you can hear the teacher and see what they write on the board. Write an outline form, listen for key or important words, and usually most teachers will emphasize in some way those key terms that are important. Be alert for repetition. If they go back and kind of say something more than one time, chances are it's important. And then copy from the board. If they put it on the board, that is prime time test material. And then do not be afraid to ask questions to verify. To say, what do you mean by this? How does this work? What is that? Instructors love interested students, and your notes will make more sense. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Then, of course, which is another thing that is very important, is to review within 24 hours. It's the most powerful note-taking technique and sets that information in your memory. So review your information, rewrite your notes if you have to, at least within 24 hours. I used to try to do mine that night. If I was at school, in grad school or at undergraduate, when I'd get back from class, I'd start putting my notes down on in another notebook, and I'd review them so that I could help that information stay fresh in my mind. And then don't be afraid to edit your notes in order to kind of rewrite them, clarify them, and certainly make sure that they're readable. I know I had a couple of times where I didn't do that, and I had scribbled down some information and I couldn't read what I had written. If you've got the speed, maybe consider typing your notes. They'd be a whole lot easier to read, take up a whole lot less room, and forces you to review. I never did that. I always hand wrote them. But obviously those of you that have the skill, and certainly now with the technology that's available to us with all of these small sub-notebook computers, that's certainly something that could work even inside the classroom while the teacher's lecturing. Then accept your wandering mind. Your mind is going to want to wander. That's just natural. Accept that, but yet keep keep it focused. Break, take some breaks, rest your mind for a minute, get back to it. So here's your PowerPoint on note taking. You'll see that the PDF is in the same format. So if you've got notes that you want to put on that, you can print them out and write them. Now, got a little PowerPoint game here. I'll show you what that looks like. You go back to your college catalog and or what we've talked about, and you can kind of go in and look at these questions and kind of use them as a review. I'm not going to do it, but all you got to do is just kind of check the box here. So it's just a few little questions about what it is we've been talking about in Block 7. So now let's take a look at the two little assignments, your grade point average and when to study. Now, let me go back here. I want to spend a little time talking about grade point average. And so now, let me do that. I'm going to go to the smart board and let's see what happens there. Right. One of the things about the grade point average is that we use a grading system that goes like this. A, B, C, D, and F. An A is equal to 4 points. A B is equal to 3 points. A C is equal to 2. D, 1. And of course the F is 0 points. And so you're assigned one of those grades for your classes. Now, in college, on your transcript, you're going to see the following things. You'll see your grade. Well, let me go ahead and erase that. Let me just say your course first. That'll be listed. And then next to it, you'll see your grade. And then you'll have quality points. Oh, and also you've got your credits. Alright? So let's take orientation 1000. So that's on your transcript. The credits for orientation 1000 is 1. It's a 1-hour credit course. And let's say you make a B in it. Alright? And let's say you took CPTR 1000. That's a 2-credit class. Let's say you made an A in that one. So you did good in CPTR 1000. And how about accounting? Let's say accounting 1000. That is a 3-credit course. And let's say you didn't do too good on that one. You had Miss Pageant's really is tough, and so you got a C on that one. And let's just say maybe another course. Okay, say you had keyboarding. I'm not going to write it all out, but let's say you had keyboarding 1000. And that's also a 3-credit course, and you had an A in that one. All right. And so what we do is figure out something called quality points. One thing we also need to do is to figure out your total number of credit hours. And so your credit hours are what? 3, 6, 8, 9. So you're carrying a grand total of 9 credits. So remember that. Now, what we need to do is figure out something called quality points. And quality points are nothing more than your credit hours multiplied by your numerical grade. And so you go back to your letter grades and look at your numerical values. So I have 1 credit times 3 would give me 3 quality points for orientation 1000. 2 credits times 4 would give me 8 quality points for CPTR 1000. 3 quality points times 2 here would give me what? 6 quality points for accounting 1000. And then I got 3 times 4 here for 12 quality points here at for keyboarding 1000. And so what I do is add up all of my quality points and see what that total is. So that's 3, 8, that's 11, 6, 17, 19, carry the 1. So I'll have a grand total of 29 quality points. So big deal. What does that do for me? Well, here's what I do to get my final thing, which is grade point average, or GPA. I take 9 credits and I divide it into 29. So 9 into 29 goes how many times? 9 will go into 29, what, 3 times? 3 times 9 is 27. So that's 2 left over. Bring down the 0, that's what, 2. 18, and now I'm going to have a whole bunch of 2's after this. So I have a 3.22 repeating. So I've got a 3.2 grade point average. And you can bring it down to the 100th, and that's about as far as you need to go. And so that's for this semester. You do the same thing for the next semester, and the next semester after that. And what you do is to calculate all of your new semester grades and credits, and then you take the two and not average them, but just add them together, divide by 2, and that's your cumulative grade point average. Another way that it's done on the computer is that they just add up all of the credits and all of the grades, and then divide by the number of quality points by the total credits that have been attempted. But that's what I'm going to be asking you to do. Now, all I want you to do is take 2 semesters, and you can take the courses that you did for the summer and figure out your grade point average and just make up some grades. We're still a couple of weeks away from the last day of class, but just make up some grades. Now, obviously, I don't want everybody making a 4.0, but yet put an A, a few A's, a few B's, a few C's, and maybe a D. I don't even mind seeing an F in there. But just calculate your grade point average, for the summer, and then just take a wild guess at what you would take during the fall semester. Make up some classes if you have to. You should be well on your way to being scheduled right now for the fall. So write those courses down, make up some grades, and then figure out your 2 semester GPA. And that's pretty much going to be it for that course for this little assignment. And then what I want you to do for me, if I can ever get back to this, there we go. It says type below your calculations for the fall semester GPA, spring semester GPA, cumulative GPA, and so I'm going to go in here as a student, so let me come back here and change that real quick and just kind of give you a little heads up how this would work. So I'm going to go into the assignment. I would suggest that you just go in and do this on paper first, and so you can just kind of type in summer 2012, and then start putting your classes. Let's say orientation 1000. There we go, and I'm going to put a few spaces right here, and my grade. Come back up here and make a couple of columns. The credits, the grade, and then quality points. I'm not going to be looking for a whole lot of neatness and skill here, and so your credits, this would be one right here. We're going to be looking at a grade of probably about an A. Let's go with an A right here, and then that would be obviously for quality points. And so you come on down here, give yourself some room for a total. And do the same thing maybe for the fall semester. So fall 2012. And then put all of those courses down. And then hopefully you'll come up here with your, like I was asking you for, your fall semester GPA, spring semester GPA, and cumulative GPA. So let's just go ahead and keep with the example. Just make up your fall and make up your spring. And I don't care if you put the summer courses down for the fall. It don't matter. There you go. That's good. And then you'll sooner or later come down to cumulative GPA. So you're going to have basically 3 numbers. Fall semester GPA somewhere, spring semester GPA, cumulative GPA. All I just want to leave you with this is that you really want to be concerned about doing as good as you possibly can on all of these courses that are 3-hour, or maybe you might even have some 4-hour courses, because if you do bad in those, you can really hurt yourself quality point wise for your GPA. I think you're going to see that from the math, especially if you use lower grades like D's and F's. It can really hurt you. So do your job, take care of business, so you don't have to to try to work that much harder to try to make your GPA stay between a 2.0 and above, because remember, that's what Pell uh, requires. And so now the when to study note-taking little assignment is one of the easiest ones you're ever going to do. Just go back to the PowerPoint presentation for when to study and note-taking, and then identify the most significant point in the two presentations that you believe will benefit you most. That's all you've got to do. Maybe find a place to study and kind of watch my wandering mind. Those two right there would work good. Save your changes. Done. So that takes care of block 7 there. So I'm going to go ahead and end my presentation right here at this point, and I'll probably do another one for block 8, kind of keep them separated, and so I will make that available to you. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow. This is Monday, so maybe by Tuesday I'll have that one done too. So I will end the recording right now.